Oh, great. Tomlin threw today. Fuck me.
What'd he do?
He did not well. Fuck, we're going to lose this week, aren't we? What? His ERA today was only 23.
That's great.
Hey, but we've got more strikeouts.
I have no idea how we...
2 1/3 innings. 6 earned runs.
Against who?
Tampa.
Well, they hit all right.
Fuck.
Here we go.
With what?
Old school wrestling.
Yeah.
Territory invasions coming to you live.
You saw how Triggs lost that game last night, right?
No, what happened?
I saw.
He left with a 4-1 lead in the 7th inning.
It's awesome.
Ryan Dull came in.
At least he was on the bench.
Dude, Rourke better throw a fucking no-no. For you to be right.
Oh, I don't care about that. I just didn't. I thought we had him on the.
I thought we had him in. I thought I put him in for Leclerc.
Not wrong.
Yes,
You guys are coming out looking like a couple stupid bitches here, ain't you?
Oh man,
No.
phones are making me hot. Is it hot in this office?
It's always hot in this room.
Yeah. All right, let's start it.
Whenever you guys are ready, I can.
I'm ready. Let's go.
I'll roll that beautiful.
You're ready? Did you already put everything on all our social media? Or did
Yep.
you
Good
You got
to
that
go.
done?
Oh, perfect.
It's live.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
I sent it out on Wolf.
That sounds right.
Crikey.
Let's get this fucker going. Do it to it.
Sorry. All right.
Might as well.
See if this works. Hey, you should do the intro live because nobody on YouTube's hearing our intro because this mixer, for whatever reason, S is a big D. I'm doing my part.
The College Hills Wrestling Federation.
Yeah. Of 809 pounds.
The Tasmanian Tyrannosaurus Tyrod. Terrible.
Oh, old school professional wrestling. That's what we do here.
Hang on a second. We might be redoing this.
Oh, we might be re-going.
I don't know. For whatever fucking reason, I'm not getting any record here.
Also known as Way Back Wednesdays.
So let's figure this out real quick. Rippity-doo. False start. Evans.
That's 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down. When are we going to get this sports show going, T.O.? Huh?
Soon.
Oh. Well, as usual, that leaves a lot of wiggle room.
Soon.
You guys starting new shows, have you said?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, Snapchat, you little bitch.
Check. Why is this not working now at all? Okay, there it goes. Okay. Yeah. We're good. Try this again. This time, Corey, you need to do the theme live. I will provide the backup music.
Excuse me?
You heard me. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
For real this time? For real? No false starts, no offense? Oh, just counting to see how many seconds it would take. So you guys got all off your phones.
I'm ready.
Fair enough, here we go.
I'm good.
Check. Meow, meow, womp, womp, meow, meow, wah, wah.
Scheduled for one fall, and there will be no disqualifications. Making their way to the ring from lineupmedia.fm at a combined weight of 849 pounds, the Three Horsemen.
And here we be. I wonder if they can they hear me? Because I can't
can hear
hear
you.
shit. Holy cow, that's loud. Loud.
Can you hear yourself now?
Now I can hear stuff because music's down. The Three Horsemen Show, Big Easy T.O., the Wrestling Snob, Corey, getting in the Wayback Machine. We're going back to 1985.
Good year.
A good year for wrestling. Probably the biggest year in wrestling. Maybe 86.
Good year for Reagan.
For what? Reagan?
For Reagan.
Reagan?
Ronald.
Are you
Reagan.
related to T.O.?
A little.
You getting naked?
We do that.
With Reagan?
We do that with Reagan.
Old naked Reagan?
It's enough.
Is it? You know, whenever I look back on the old days of wrestling,
Wrestling?
Back when wolves were wolves.
oh man, I remember the wolf
The
days.
rabid Wolverine.
I think back to the glory days of WWF versus NWA. How far does your guys' knowledge take you into this stratosphere of the
So
war
I
between
remember the
Crockett
night.
and McMahon?
I remember the night Hogan turned heel at Bash at the Beach.
Oh
when-
my God, this is definitely part of it.
Oh, I thought you said WWF and NWO. I'm sorry.
Oh, did you?
We're going back some years.
Oh man, yeah.
No, the one thing that sticks out to me when I really understood it is around 91-ish, like 91, when I started seeing WCW guys show up on WWF and vice versa. That guys were going back and forth because at that time, like, I watched both shows.
Right.
So, Flair showed up on WCW. Before that, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson showed up. Did they come before or after Flair?
Who?
The Brainbusters.
2 years before.
Before. So I remember them being
With
there.
snazzy jackets. Say it.
Satin, right?
Yeah, red.
Yeah. I remember the Road Warriors coming over and being Legion of Doom. That was the first time I really realized that names changed. The gimmick was the same, but I never understood why they couldn't be called the Road Warriors.
Yeah, it was weird.
So, for me, that was really when I first realized that there was a swap of talent and somewhat competition. And then at the age I started thinking, would the Intercontinental Champion beat the U.S. Champion? Like, I started viewing it like that and like
No, I
what
get it.
matches I would like to see, the Steiner brothers versus whoever, or
Who did you always wonder
that
if
kind of stuff.
the world TV champion, who they would beat in WWF?
I don't know who I would compare that to.
They didn't really have a comparison title.
There wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
Whenever the European title got around, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty shitty title too.
Yeah. You guys are going to love the next show. But today, we are going to talk about WWF versus NWA. You looked this stuff up
Some of it.
a little bit. I gave you some links. T.O., I gave them to you too, but I know you didn't look.
Nope.
So,
Guilty.
You asked when I remembered, and I told you.
oh, I know.
Don't ask a question.
That's why
you
you're
don't know
going
the
to.
answer
That's
to.
why you're going to love the next show. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're getting into next.
I know.
So, but
he
today
knows.
See you guys next week.
we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down the road of the NWA versus the WWF. So this is Crockett and McMahon going to war. This is after Black Saturday. We covered Black Saturday. This
Yep.
is the good times. So it really.
So this is when there was healthy. I mean, the business was healthy and guys were getting paid.
Probably at its most healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
For the, people are still holding on. The AWA was still doing, their business dropped pretty dramatically from 85 to 86,
Now, was
thanks
this-
to the Road Warriors leaving.
Was this before or after they were doing the super cards, to where like AWA and NWA would put on shows together, and
That's
even
pretty much the end of where we're at, because they did Super Clash together at
Yep.
Comiskey, and then that was when Crockett and David Crockett, story goes, he was in the locker room trying to sign away their guys. So,
doing
that's-
what?
and that's pretty much what happened, because the Road Warriors left the next day
Why was he trying to sign away?
drop the belts
Why
next
was he
day.
trying to sign them away?
because they were going big time to compete with McMahon.
Mm.
Jimmy Garvin ended up in the NWA. Steve Regal ended up in the NWA. The Road Warriors ended up in the NWA. Everybody. This is when
I see.
this is when it starts getting a little underhanded.
Poaching.
You could say that.
Say it.
Said it.
Oh, sorry.
Poaching.
So let's start where we go to the main thing is the NWA was selling blood and violence, and WWF was selling superheroes and cartoons. Do you guys remember Rockin' Wrestling?
Of course.
The Hulk Hogan show?
The Hulk Hogan cartoon show, yeah. With none of their voices were actually wrestlers.
Oh,
It's kind of a bummer.
it was brutal, but you turn on CBS, at least that's what it was here in St. Louis. CBS
Yeah, it
had
was a
the
Saturday
rights
morning
to
cartoon, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what you'd turn on, and then I sent you that picture of the I Quit match, and that's Starrcade, and that's where NWA really, I mean, they had a home run. Now, the ending of the main event was Flair and Rhodes, where they thought Rhodes won the title.
The dusty finish.
That was basically the start of it. That was where people started going, well, now wait a goddamn minute. You're going to have them win in the arena and then lose it on Saturday's TV, which did keep people watching. But, like, do you guys, if you go to where your starting point is of the 90s, the WCW really watered down what the NWA had built.
Well, yeah, the no over the top, the no top rope, the no.
No.
I mean,
wait a
like
minute. Over the top rope. Now that was just disqualification in NWA. That's just the way it always was.
no top rope though.
That's you're talking Watts 92.
No blood. I mean, like they did a bunch of silly shit.
They still had blood. You just didn't have blood on TV.
Yeah,
Well, WWF never had that
yeah.
for the most part. I would say, but they were. I mean, the main guys. Like I showed you that picture, Ian. We've got it up on Twitter and we've got it on Facebook. It's all these cartoon characters, and then you look and you've got the Four Horsemen, and you've got Dusty, Nikita, and the Road Warriors. And it was, I mean, my God, I love NWA. At least,
You're like the exception though, because like I feel like people our age were more into the cartoonish WWF.
but we all loved Hulk Hogan, didn't we?
Still do. Don't care.
Yeah.
But I remember those storylines more, the mega powers, the like.
See, I think it was a target audience difference.
That's what I'm saying. Like
The NWA is more looking at, your early 20s, probably,
Southern,
canned drink,
yes.
Southern crowd.
Southern.
Southern, that's fair too.
Vince went after kids that were going to buy the toys and watch the cartoon and watch the Saturday Night Main Event. Like, we were his target demo.
For
Almost
sure.
like we talk about wrestling now and we're not the target demo and we think it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
We're right.
It's kind of similar to that.
To your point, they had, I had steroids.
Would have your mom let you watch bloody, gory Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair? I mean, like, did she know that that's what wrestling was that you were watching?
Sure.
See, like, I don't know.
Let's
if
get your mom on the phone.
No, I'm just.
I was talking to her earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
But like at 6 years old, you were like your mom wouldn't have like changed that. You don't need to be watching that or put it on something else.
Well, one, Dad would be watching it with me.
That helps a shit ton.
Number one.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, we would have the home video out cutting promos as Lex Luger, King Kong Bundy.
Oh, no. Do you still have that?
I wish. I've looked 100 times, can't find it.
Damn
I can
it.
still see my dad
Do you have, like,
with the Apple hat on and the sunglasses with the handkerchief around doing his Dusty Rhodes.
is there a possibility you have tapes that might have gotten taped over? Because we'll send those off. We'll get that shit recovered.
Are you serious?
Pretty sure you can do that.
Now wait a minute.
Because it's all magnetic bullshit. It's still there.
Really?
I'm
So
willing to
how
bet.
come? So now wait a minute. So like when we talked about Georgia and Ole, they would reuse tapes. All these
Right.
TV stations would reuse tapes. So can they go back? And
If it's been
recover?
reused so many times, probably not. And you're not going to get a perfect thing out of it. But for the most part, you should be able to pull something back off, unless it's been recorded over too many times.
Really?
Yeah. It's the same thing whenever you erase your hard drive or whatever. Unless you physically rewrite over every sector, like multiple times, you're not
So
really
all that
guaranteed.
porn on our computers not really gone?
Not really gone. No, you should
No
destroy your
way.
hard drive.
No
Destroy your hard
way.
drive. Always destroy.
Destroy it. Throw it away.
No, shoot it. Don't throw it away. That's just.
What
that's
about put it in water?
It's still not good.
Like shooting the engine block.
They can get it. They can get your hard drive if it's wet.
The hard drives are. Imagine your phone, but it's completely sealed. You
Yeah.
might ruin the circuit board on the outside, but you can go buy your $50 hard drive, take the circuit board off, stick it on there, and what's inside where the data is, like the little platter, still fine.
So burn it.
Shoot it.
Shoot.
Go right through those platters and explode them with a gun.
What about a
Beat it
drill?
with a hammer.
What about a drill?
Drill's fine too.
Okay. All right.
A lot of work with a drill.
Carry on.
Yeah.
So let's look at WWF versus NWA. So WWF had USA and they had NBC on Saturday nights. I mean, you can't get a better, my God, combination. But Vince had bought everybody's TVs up by then. NWA goes hardcore. They're going to go 6:05 Saturday nights. People still talk about wrestling down there. This is still a deal to them. 6:05. They have what? They have the 6:05 Super Podcast now, and Cornette guests on it. They still talk about wrestling. So those Saturday nights, I can remember sitting and watching all squash
Sasquatch?
Squash
squash matches.
matches, squash
like-
matches, and promotions for the pay-per-view or whatever they were trying to sell.
And I used to get tapes. I was like, man, I miss that shit. I would want to get Tape Trader stuff. And I'm like, oh, it looks like it says it's all promos. I don't want to just see everybody's promos. But then I watched the show again, and I'm like, oh, no wonder. The matches are fucking awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all you wanted to watch was the promos, but they would run the angles through the promos. And it's kind of what WWF did. I mean, they're basically working with the same formula. But for all that time, I can tell you, the NWA they both had rosters out the ass. But my God, look at those guys you're lining up.
So how much harder, and this is just from a physical standpoint, guys that would leave NWA and go work WWF, how much easier was it on their bodies?
Say that again.
Like the guys that left NWA that went to WWF, the style, it had to have been an easier workload.
No.
It's not like
easier workload to go to
ECW.
WWF?
No, there was probably more dates, but the style of wrestling wasn't it? I mean, not as hard, not as stiff, not as.
It's almost the same thing, I would say.
All depends. I would say the way they ran their town, they ran all over the United States. I can only imagine flying from here to there the way they did, which is why so many guys are dead now. I mean, I would think the bigger payday was in WWF, but the NWA was not doing too shabby. I mean, they were hot.
No, I'm talking about just like
I know the work
the
rate.
style, the stiffness.
The NWA still had the Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant. I always come back to that
Yeah,
guy.
I was going to say that it's probably not back in those days so much that the federation dictates the style. It's still more the worker,
Yeah, sir. Who wants to get over?
I mean, I guess wherever you're at with the Road Warriors, you're taking hard bumps.
right?
Yeah, you're feeding and getting your ass kicked, and then that's how you sell tickets. I mean, you talk shit, you jump them on TV, and then you go to the house show, get your ass kicked, and you sell.
Yep.
I mean, but okay, so let's look at each territory. You got Flair, Rhodes, Magnum TA, who's a big point of where we're gonna go with this. Magnum, Tully, Arn, and Ole, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express. Barry Windham eventually came in. He's working big. They eventually get Luger. This is all running like 85 to 87. Oh, Nikita and Ivan, loaded. So you go to the WWF. Hogan, Savage, Steamboat. Andre, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, Tito Santana, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, Valentine and Beefcake, the Killer Bees. I mean,
Roberts.
Iron Sheik, Jake Rock. I mean,
Yeah.
exactly. You can go up and down the line.
DiBiase was there. He was there at that time.
Yeah, and nobody in the NWA brought animals to the ring.
Yeah, what about that? Coco Beware was the shit. Everyone knew it. He had Frankie, and everyone loved Frankie.
Yeah.
You had Jake the Snake. Had Damien.
You sure it wasn't R-Truth?
Fuck
Kofi
you.
Kingston.
Nice.
You mean Butch Reed?
It was Butch Reed with the parrot.
Tony Atlas is who you meant.
Could have been Rocky Johnson.
Yeah.
Who was the first NWA? Who was the first guy to have like a prop or a gimmick that they carry? Cornet and the tennis racket.
A gimmick?
Paul Ellering and
Shit,
in the
you could-
newspaper.
Carried the Wall Street Journal.
I mean, who was the guy?
I don't know that they had a gimmick per se.
What about Dogface Gremlin with his headset? I mean, I'm calling that gimmick. If you're coming out still wearing the college dress
Headgear,
Well, people wore masks.
Well, good point. Never mind.
I mean,
face paint was. I mean, yeah.
and like you talk about TV, I don't know if you guys have ever seen
I've seen it on TV.
Dusty, them following Dusty to the offices of Crockett Promotions, jumping him, tying him to a truck, and hitting him with a baseball
The
bat.
Horsemen.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah.
Those are some of the best. I mean, like,
Exactly.
Didn't they run someone off the road with a car one time or something?
About 10 years later.
Who was that? Steen?
That's NWO and the Steiners.
No, this was a different one. I'm thinking of something different, but there was another angle to where they beat the shit out of someone. I mean, like, they used to do angles away from the ring, though, that, like, made you think,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
stuff outside the arena. Like, who...
Oh, absolutely. They'd go back in the locker room.
Yes.
People would fight through the crowd, and they'd catch people getting jumped back there. That was wrestling to people. I mean, it still is. That's why people don't watch shit now. But let's get, okay. So NWA is working. Great American Bash Tour is when they're at their hottest. But I looked up, and Flair always says 42 straight nights of sellouts. Well, not exactly.
Well, far be it from them to juice up the numbers a little.
Well, always hanging from the rafters, always sold out.
Just like Randy Orton saying, we just did 11 shows and made $5 million or whatever he said. I mean, it's all dick stroking.
Tie-in merch.
Yeah.
So they opened up the Great American Bash at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. That's where the Eagles and Phillies played.
Sure, yeah, I heard of them.
10,900 in a baseball stadium that holds 40,000. RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., where the Redskins played. 6,300.
Why are they shitting so hard, shitting the bed so hard?
I don't know. Because I would have gone to
Up
see this.
south?
I was 4 years old. I would have begged my father to take me to this.
Yeah.
The Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. 1,900.
Jesus.
1,900, not 19,000.
Good Lord.
Then they go to their home. They go to Charlotte. 23,000 at Memorial
That makes
Stadium.
more sense.
But this is when Flair's running the gauntlet of defending his title at every show.
Right.
And they had their sellouts, but they did Cincinnati, they did Riverfront Stadium, 3,900.
Gosh, dang, that
I
has to feel like
know.
nobody.
I could draw that many.
They did the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, 10,000.
It's pretty horrible. How many does Gator Bowl hold? 40?
Probably.
Yeah.
They did. Let's see where else they did. I mean, they did a sellout in Greensboro again, 15,000. They did Fulton County Stadium where the Braves used to play, 12,000.
That's horrible for drawing in their country. I mean, that's dead center.
That's why I wonder. And nobody ever has. I mean, Cornette keeps fantastic books of everything he did. But I wonder how they. I mean, and they didn't paper things the way the WWF did, because WWF would give away tickets. And they would only go, they would have their TV tapings and they would make sure, hey, look, this is full. This is always full. They didn't have a studio show. Only the NWA had a studio show. but they sold tickets to go to arenas. They still did well, and they would go up to the WWF's territory. They would run a show in Baltimore. They would run a show in Philly. Not the same arena. They wouldn't run the Spectrum in Philly. They'd run the smaller venue. They wouldn't go to the big one in Baltimore, and I can't.
They'd probably use the ECW arena if they were in Philly.
No,
No?
bigger than that.
Oh.
Bigger than that. They're still drawing 10,000 people.
Not the
in these
Spectrum,
places.
though.
Yeah, and I know the name of it. Same with Baltimore. They'd run the smaller arena, but they're still drawing 10,000. It's not 18,000, but the WWF, they rewrite history. They act like everything was sold out all the time.
Right.
Not true.
There was never a hard time.
No, but when they went and did the big event in Toronto, they did like 60, 70,000. I mean, the WWF always did it right.
60, 70,000? That's
Yeah,
huge.
In 86.
That's huge. That's WrestleMania fucking as it could ever
Precursor.
do that. Right.
Precursor. But I think about this and I wonder if because they would also have a concert with every outdoor show and I guess the indoor shows also. They'd have God, these guys are gonna I don't know who these people are. Waylon Jennings?
You don't know who fucking Waylon Jennings
I
is?
guess I know who he is.
Get out of here.
But Joe Eli and
He did the Dukes of Hazzard theme, just the good old boys.
Did he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
That's news to me. Joe Eli and Delbert McClinton? You know who they are?
No clue.
The old Eli McClinton man. Yep.
Eli McClinton. George Jones?
Oh, yeah, George Jones. That's classic country there. He did I think he did The Races On. No. Maybe Hard to Handle.
The heat is on.
Maybe.
Hey, little thing, let me light your candle, because mama, I'm sure. That was originally him.
Really, he did a show at Riverfront where they drew 3,900. David Allen Coe did a show at the Roanoke Civic
David Allen
Center.
Coe, too.
Yeah. So this was all Dusty's baby. So they went through and did this, and they had gotten a real big influx of talent in the way Flair talks. I mean, he went and snatched the Midnight Express. He went and got the Rock and Roll Express. The Road Warriors came in. They ran. I sent you those pictures of the Crockett Cup. That was the big intro for the Road Warriors. Here they come. We'll have them win this tournament. They're over like Rover anyway. I mean, because they're the Road Warriors. But there you see the difference in what they're selling you. I'm trying to think of what happened. WrestleMania. They're bringing in Tommy Lasorda at
Right.
WrestleMania. They're bringing in Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons.
Who wouldn't? Ricky was the shit.
That
Still
he
is.
was. That he was. And they've got guys like Jesse Ventura starts making movies.
You know what happened? 15 years later, WCW tries the same thing and brings in David Arquette, and people shit on him.
Yeah, but they
didn't give
these
Ricky
guys
the
didn't get in
title.
the ring.
Yeah,
But
they didn't give
Mr.
Ricky a title,
But
though.
there you go. Mr. T's boxing Roddy Piper,
Fair
and
enough.
he's wrestling at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So it's an odd thing that they were. I mean, they were neck and neck for a long, at least in my eyes. Like people always say, "Oh, we wanted to get to New York." Did you really? I mean, did you not want to work in down south? I don't know. But
I don't think they were thinking too much about it back then. I think they were like, whoever's giving me the most money.
yeah,
Most of them.
yeah.
At that time, I don't think too many of those guys were like, this is my career. You know, I'm really worried about, 15 years what my career looks like. I've been with the best. They just want to make money at that time. They want to drink their Miller Lite. They want to screw 10 groupies per town.
No, it's cash grab. I mean, most of them say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, think about those car rides. Could you imagine?
How more of those guys not? I mean, I know we've kind of talked about it. How more of those guys not getting wrecks?
Yeah, I could only. Well, hey, funny you say that. One guy did.
Who?
Magnum TA.
Never heard of him.
Magnum was probably going to be their Hogan.
I have heard of Magnum TA. I just wanted to say that.
Magnum was probably going to be their Hogan, and he gets in this car crash in October of '86. I want to say early October, and it changed it. I don't want to say that's their.
Can you fill me in a little bit more on that car crash? Was he driving a race car or something like that?
I want to say he had a Lambo.
Something really fucking
Ferrari?
fast that he shouldn't have been driving or something like that. Hold on, we need more info on this.
Yeah, look that up. He was getting as big. He had a big feud with Tully. He had a big feud with Nikita, and he was going to be a super duper star.
It was a Porsche.
Porsche.
Lost it in the rain, hit a telephone pole, wrapped it.
Yeah.
Custom vertebrae.
He was Dusty's baby. That's who he saw being a guy that could star in movies. He did look a little like Magnum PI. What's his name?
That stash?
Tom
Selleck.
Selleck.
Yeah.
You guys know who I'm talking about.
You GD, right?
But that's a guy. It changed everything, and there's a bit of confusion as to whether he was going to win the belt at Starrcade '86 or not. Some say he was going to wrestle Jimmy Garvin, but that's a big deal because they immediately turned Nikita, who everyone hated. They turn him into a good guy 2 nights later, I think. He gets in the wreck. They flip Nikita to face. So Nikita wrestles Flair, doesn't win at Starrcade. But he was their big Russian heel. And that took away a huge heel from that side.
I think Nikita was pissed about that.
I don't know, because he ended up main eventing their biggest show of the year.
Still, I mean, think about the heat he could and did draw.
Oh, absolutely.
How'd they get him over to a face so quick?
Was
it Steen getting attacked and he came out and helped him?
You're ahead a couple years. This is '86. They had just come off their big best of 7 series. Magnum and Nikita has the wreck. Dusty says we'll flip him. They go out that night for a cage match with Ole and J.J. Dillon. They don't know who Dusty's partner is going to be, and Nikita walks out. It's on YouTube, and the place is like, "What the fuck is going on?" And kind of like, "What is this?" And Nikita kind of hesitates getting into the ring. These guys used to be so good at this shit. Isn't it incredible?
Ring psychology used to be a thing.
He steps up on the ring and he's kind of looking around like, what am I doing out here with him? And then he gets in and just beats the shit out of Dillon and Ole. And they push Ole out of the ring, get him through the door out of the cage, and then they just pound the shit out of JJ. It's great. Perfect turn. Perfect turn.
So the turn worked.
Oh. Yeah.
The place went nuts.
Because then those two become the superpowers.
Yeah.
And it's the Superpowers and the Road Warriors always on the same side. There's 4 guys to take on the Four Horsemen. And you know, we're focusing a lot on the NWA. And I'm trying to think through the WWF time because Hogan's feuding with Orndorff during this time. And that was a blood feud. It was good, but they also had Saturday Night's Main Event going against this. So that you've got Steamboat getting DDT'd by Jake Roberts and knocking him out. And you've got, my God, Halloween parties and Terry Funk and Nikolai Volkov. They basically feed all your big guys to Hogan. Meanwhile, you always had an up-and-comer to take on Flair. It worked, but...
I was listening to Flair today talk about Magnum TA on Stone Cold's podcast. Have you heard that interview? Mm-hmm. Just talking, even Flair was like heavy marked down on Magnum TA. Like he was ready to make this guy, give him the belt.
He was going to be
Listening
the next
to Flair,
Flair, pretty much.
Flair was
Flair said.
Flair was
ready to
marking
hand
out
it to
on
him.
his looks.
Totally. 45-second matches on TV. He'd belly to back somebody into the match. He was just, and the girls loved him. What's the saying?
And they wanted Luger to be that once Magnum came, and that was the disappointment in Luger is that
right.
Luger couldn't hold a candle. for
Luger
the
was
guy.
a saint.
Couldn't work like Magnum, and it hurt him, but it didn't. I guess it didn't. It didn't kill them the way that so many things. I don't know.
I don't know.
But also, you run into Dusty Rhodes booking himself in everything. And like we talked about the Dusty finish, that's another thing that people started to say, yeah, a little too much. But also, this is when, we'll work around this time of '87, that they start going west. And Flair always says if we would have stayed below Baltimore, Philly, and stayed
east of Texas, right?
East of St. Louis.
Oh, east of St. Louis.
Don't
Pretty
go
close to the same.
or east of St. Louis, south of Chicago.
Yeah.
Stay in our hotbed because we own this. And you can make a living this way. And they didn't. They started they buy these offices because they want to get in the movie business.
Yeah.
That's all Dusty's idea.
Wasn't one of those offices in Texas? Is that what it was or something?
Well, yeah, that's where they bought offices.
Yeah, that's what I said. They talked about buying one of the offices.
They were going to run out of there.
Huge mistake. Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
because they didn't need it, and they started running shows at the Forum in L.A. in '87. Not what they needed to do, and they're doing great shit. They had the War Games, they had all this stuff, but WWF had WrestleMania 3, and they also had the best match anybody had seen in 10 years.
The Macho Man, fucking Savage or Steamboat.
A guy that they snagged from NWA. And then Savage came from Memphis.
I still have the original WrestleMania 3, like the plastic, one you'd buy from used at the video store. The hard,
Really?
Oh yeah, I still got that.
It's probably worth some money.
Those were what were great about the ones you buy from the video store. They weren't like the ones you'd buy at like Walmart
The
or
paper ones.
well,
Cardboard.
it's not that. The tape itself was different too. It was a high run tape. The ones that the video stores would buy, they'd buy the ones that were built really hardcore for shit tons of plays because they rent it out and get lots of use on it. What you buy at like Walmart, less quality. It's only meant to be played, 100 times or so, 150 times.
Right.
So I don't know. It was always cool to buy from the movie store. You knew you were getting something that would last.
Now, did you only, like when you went and got tapes from the video store, did you only get WWF?
No, not at all. Whatever they had looked cool. You know what I mean?
What years we talking?
88 through 90.
Okay. So did you ever like see Starrcade, like Skywalkers with Road Warriors and...
Not when it was live. No, we didn't have that kind
Not
of...
live. I'm talking about, did you ever get those tapes?
Dude, I couldn't tell you. Probably.
Really?
Probably. Because it was either I was getting wrestling tapes or some stupid kid's cartoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mad Balls or My Pet Monster or something stupid.
Yeah, it was He-Man for me.
Yeah, I loved me some He-Man too.
Fuck yeah.
By the power of Grayskull.
Oh, yeah, Castle.
You're damn right.
But also, not everybody... I don't think, if you didn't get the NWA, we were, like I've said on the previous old school shows when we were running through this, we were lucky that we got world class. And world class is dying a slow death by this point. We got world class on television. We got the AWA on TV. We got everybody. We were just in a sweet spot. Maybe that adds to my wrestling fandom. But
Can't hate.
WrestleMania 3 is right around... So in this time, Bill Watts' UWF gets purchased by the NWA. And he buys Kansas City. And the same thing he's going to do with Florida, which he had snagged Florida. He was going to work those as towns where he would send his talent to do their TV and then run from there. Like run bigger shows in that area. But he buys up Mid-South UWF, and they get a big group of guys. But like McMahon always had trouble putting guys from the NWA over when they came over to him.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of had this. They got Sting. They got Steve Williams. Ted DiBiase went to the WWF. Hacksaw Duggan had already gone to the WWF. The Freebirds came in for a hot minute. Eddie Gilbert was one of the guys that left there.
I was never a big fan, but anyway.
Yeah. I think Ultimate Warrior had already gone to Texas and became the Dingo Warrior.
Right about the time you were a little bit... Is that right after he teamed with Sting?
Yeah. They had been the Blade Runners in Mid-South UWF. But also the WWF starts getting... They got Demolition. Here come their Road Warriors because McMahon didn't get the Road Warriors in '86 like he wanted. But also Crockett allowed guys to work their Japan deals. And that kept them healthy and happy.
And gives them, plenty of extra money. Like you said, keeps them happy.
Money. Like Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, the Road Warriors. He didn't really ever bring Hanson in. But those guys were able to do double dip. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So and everybody says the purchase. Jim Ross is the one that negotiated the purchase, but they say that hurt Crockett too. Another money, like he just kind of pissed it away. You could have stayed healthy without that bullshit.
He got $1 million, didn't he? $1 million flat for that?
Who?
Crockett.
Got $1 million for what?
For the whole promotion when he sold out.
Oh no.
You don't think he got that much?
I think he did better than that.
Really? I thought I read he only got $1 million.
Maybe,
anyway.
If he got a flat $1 million, I would think he would have still gotten the advertising money also. Because that's in the end in '88. That's really what happened. But going through to buying, flying private jets and all that kind of shit, really hurt the NWA. And they get to Starrcade. And I don't... Like, did you guys ever see Ronnie Garvin? You remember rugged Ronnie Garvin?
Sure, he had the flat top hair. My little brother had the same haircut because of Ronnie Garvin.
Yeah, he won the belt in 87.
Yeah.
Like Hulk Hogan versus Ronnie Garvin.
That's some fucking old school versus new school shit there. Changing the guard for sure.
Yeah. Your U.S. your U.S. and Intercontinental titles, it's going from the honky or Steamboat to the Honky Tonk Man, Randy Savage. Your U.S. title holders are Magnum, Nikita, Luger. That's when Luger got big, and they thought Luger was going to be the next Hogan, and that never worked out, did it? Why didn't that?
Because he sucked.
Couldn't talk.
I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty much it. He was a one-trick pony in the ring, and his promos were horrible. But he had a nice, no gay here. He had a nice body. He was the total package for a reason.
But he never got better. He never.
You know what he was missing, and we would have totally took Magnum TA's place. He should have grown the fucking mustache.
Why didn't they ever give him help with
He
the
had a beard
mouthpiece?
early.
Meh.
His mouthpiece was Dylan with the Horsemen.
But after that, I mean, they could have done something to help him.
I don't know if it was as bad. Looking back, it's bad. But back then, no scripts or anything.
And he clearly wasn't sharp enough to think on his feet. I mean, like,
Holy sheep shit. Was Ronnie Garvin's finishing move the sharpshooter?
No.
I got a picture of him pulling the sharpshooter off on somebody.
Ronnie Garvin?
The Ronnie Garvin. Unless that's not the sharpshooter I'm seeing there.
Oh, boy.
Eh?
Boy, that must have been... His finishing moves were the Garvin Stomp
Nice.
and just a knockout punch.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Good old knockout punch.
Hands of stone.
the old Garvin stomp.
Who does that now? Somebody does it. Orton?
Yeah, Randy
I
Orton.
think Orton had been doing it. He was
The
doing
what?
the Garvin Stomp for a
Oh.
little bit. I kind of like that. Going back to Luger, can you guys name guys who got something or got the push just because of how they looked?
Rollins was doing the stomp too.
Was he really?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
shit.
curb stomp. Remember when they banned it and all that? Like,
I'm not talking about that stomp. I'm talking about where you kick each or you stomp each body part. You go up and down their body. He would kick their foot, then he'd kick the knee, then he'd kick the
You wanna see it?
abdomen,
I'm watching
then he'd
it
kick
right
the
now.
No, I
chest,
know,
then
I've-
he'd
Watch.
kick the arm.
Just watch this. This is beautiful.
That's Scotty Steiner.
Yeah.
The Garvin Stomp.
That's stomping a mud hole in your there, pal.
It's awesome.
Oh, Scotty Steiner.
Yeah. He was called the young
Speaking of
muscle
that-
god here or something.
He's back on.
Scotty Recksteiner.
He's back on Impact Wrestling
I heard.
and can hardly move. But go ahead.
Yeah, he's fucking damn near disabled. Can you guys think of another guy who got the push just because of how they looked?
Well, Scotty Steiner.
There you go.
Big Papa Dump.
I don't know. I've told you 1,000 times he was Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle.
You think? Well, I guess so. He had the kind of the same background and
He
everything.
could work.
Go
though.
look at some shit from like 90, 91.
But he went way crazier.
Look at
Oh,
Look
totally.
at some of the moves he could do though. Like his work in the ring. I was watching some of the moves he did. Like his move set.
Freak.
Yeah, he was pretty damn athletic.
But I don't know. I can't think of anybody else who. Well, I guess Hogan, but he had charisma. I mean, Luger had the fucking point with the fucking fingers. Could never get over that. Jump ahead. Starrcade '87. Now, E, you've read about this. What did Vince do?
Okay, so that was whenever he created Survivor Series.
All right.
So there was basically only so much time to put out, for pay-per-views to be out. Like, you got so many weekends in a month.
Booked it the same night, right?
He books it in November and forces the pay-per-view company, if you want WrestleMania, carry my pay-per-view. He doesn't necessarily say, don't carry Starrcade, but he says, you better carry my pay-per-view on that night,
Or you won't get my next one.
or you won't get my WrestleMania, which is, they can't miss out on WrestleMania money, forcing Starrcade to move to an end-of-year show now.
And that's
And
where
where
the
it
clash
was for the rest of
comes
his
from,
time.
Next year,
correct?
yeah. The other huge mistake from the way they run it, they took it out of Greensboro, which they always ran down south for Starrcade. It had been Greensboro, and the Omni, and then they ran it in Chicago. And they had the Road Warriors, and they didn't have the Road Warriors go over, which is always I never understood that because they would have won the belts that night. But they do that, and they have Vince doing all that bullshit, the same thing. But this is really when the war gets kind of heated because going into that next one, they've got that Royal Rumble, and Crockett runs that bunkhouse stampede, which is lesser known. But leading to the one you'll know more about is running that first Clash of Champions versus WrestleMania 4. And that's when Sting's born. I mean, my God. It went 45 minutes and fucking, I wouldn't say Flair carried him at all.
We didn't have to. Sting actually did have talent.
Very.
A lot of people, I don't know why, people shit on Sting.
I don't.
They want to be revisionist somehow and make it like Sting wasn't the hottest fucking thing for almost 10 years.
Well, I think a lot of it too is it's because he
Even
ran
longer.
concurrent with the Warrior, and so many people want to make that comparison to Sting,
Not
to
even
the
close
Ultimate
to the
Warrior,
same.
And I don't get
not
that.
even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. Skill wise, I mean, on
They both
any
painted their
set-
face.
that's about it.
You ever
And
seen
they both had bodies.
You ever seen a Blade Runners match?
Never seen a match, seen promo photos.
Sting was super stiff.
Was he? They
in,
were.
in the beginning, not stiff with.
Were they both
punches.
roided out at that?
Oh, my
I mean, the promo pictures I've seen, it's just muscles on top of muscles. So
Oh man, but I guess Sting either learned the charisma because he didn't know anything about wrestling, but he came into his own, and they're now going head to head. They did a hell of a rating on TBS that night. I mean, against WrestleMania, that's pretty damn good. So it's really, those guys are now, it's a full-fledged war, and they're going at it, and basically the cable companies go to them and say, look, motherfuckers, let's all make money.
Mhm.
Let's not fuck each other. But really, it's Vince fucking Crockett.
pretty much. Well, I'd say it's more Vince. I'm sure
Yeah.
Crockett's probably like fuck you, but Vince is like completely fuck you
And I never,
or retaliatory fuck you from Crockett more than anything.
I'll never understand you know who Vince is?
Yeah, he's this guy who runs WWE.
He's fucking Donald Trump.
Very similar. They both have that same attitude.
Nobody can be as good. I'm sitting watching.
Vince hates black people. Trump hates black. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going too far.
Hey, you're talking about the South here. They weren't exactly. I don't know of many African American wrestlers that were getting over in Crockett's time. But I look back at these David Letterman things, and I'll hear Trump say, "Yeah, we've had like 3 other guys. They tried to do offshoots of The Apprentice, and they all failed miserably. Only one's good." And it's like, why do you want to put other people out of business? Because that's essentially what happens here. Crockett he writes checks that he can't cash at the time. And that's what knocks them out of competition, trying to compete with Vince.
Horrible idea.
Because we could have had all this wrestling, all these years, through the kid years.
We did still, though.
Not as good.
Yeah, it could have been better.
And guys
These guys were desperate. They wanted to win.
Yeah. Win what?
That's the question.
What are you winning?
Right. Are you getting more territory? Are you going to be able to run shows in wherever you think you're going to take them out of?
Well, yeah. Aren't you doing well enough running across the goddamn country that, you have to have the
was
South?
the Atlanta Stampede Fuck You Fest.
But it's so callous and...
We talked about it before on another one of the episodes whenever, and I believe it was Vince, had gone down to talk with Crockett about buying, and Crockett had talked about a negotiation, and everything seemed to be fine. They get to the airport.
That's Vern.
Okay, that was Vern. Okay. Still, it's the same difference. It's the same attitude that Vince has to all of them. I'm the show. You are my feeder, and I will eat you.
I've never gotten it.
I mean, I could kind of see it. It's a competitive attitude, but a little hyper-competitive.
I think that his whole thing was it's Turner's station, and that's where they're getting it out of. And Turner reneges on the deal in 85. And Crockett comes in and said, look, I'm going to run Mid-Atlantic and Georgia. We'll make it they go by the NWA no matter what. It's still called JCP Promotions, or Jim Crockett Promotions. But
Too many P's there.
too many P's, JCP Promotions. Yeah,
JCPP.
Sorry about that. And I know I'm running through big things that happen.
That's okay. We only got so much time.
Do we really?
We probably got 15, 20 minutes left, max.
Well, we ran long that one.
We can run as long as we want. Fuck the world.
True. I mean, the next one's going to be. That's when we get into Jim Herd territory, and we won't go there today. The Great American Bash '88, another one. They ran a lot of shows, same way they did in '86 and '87, and we're passing by War Games and things like that went so well, and they were. NWA still doing great business. They get to '88 and they've got a big show, and it doesn't go as well as they planned. They didn't get the buy rate they needed. This is the summer of '88.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when Tully and Arn go in to renegotiate. Tully and Arn leave. Garvin turns on Rhodes and Garvin leaves. And guys start jumping, and it really hurts business. And then apparently the accountant comes in and says, we're so many $1 million in the hole.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. I get that at least twice a week, personally.
Nervous breakdown. Guy had
Literal?
a nervous breakdown.
Literal?
Literal nervous breakdown.
Bummer.
And that's...
Is that where you were? Nervous breakdown to you?
Yeah, pooping.
Just making sure.
But Crockett, according to Crockett, says if they had gotten the advertising money ahead of time, they would have been fine because of all their TVs. And, I mean, you guys know. They had a main show, then they had shows that had lesser guys on it, B shows. And they'd run them on a loop everywhere. But they had advertising money they were getting from all those shows. And now
Local shows, right?
Locals.
Like local, yeah.
yeah,
Local
like
advertising.
St. Louis market, you know what I mean. They're sending them to all the towns.
So the Piggly Wiggly would fucking, or the Kroger, or the what I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the time. Yeah. Good comparison. I hadn't thought about that. But they don't get it, and Ted Turner steps in to save it, and that's the war. What could have been done differently?
A lot. Don't be so fucking competitive.
This is the $1 million question. What could he have done differently?
To win? I don't know that he could have, honestly.
Why expand? Why go west?
Why take Starrcade to Chicago?
That day,
I mean,
that day and age, and Hollywood being as Hollywood as it was, Ric Flair is your superstar in that region. Why try to take him and make him something out west?
Got to give it a go. Why not? Why? Because what if it worked? Right? I mean, what if it worked?
But what national TV did they have outside? I mean, with Vince having everything and Hogan being in Rocky and doing some of the more.
He had done No Holds Barred by this time.
Yeah, so I mean, like
You're a dead man,
were
Ramsey.
going, they were going more Hollywood. They were going more that way. So why not stay out of Vince's territory, stay out of his area, stay out of the cities that they're in, and stay in your spot, carve out your niche, and
You got to figure a lot of it's ego, right?
be very damn successful where you're at. Because WWF wouldn't have came into those towns and never outdrawn them in Charlotte.
Tried. They tried.
It never happened, and it never
No.
would have happened. It wouldn't have happened in Georgia. It wouldn't have happened in Carolinas. It wouldn't have happened in
No, they
so
went
many
to New
of the
York
cities.
and ran shows.
Yeah,
And didn't do great.
I wouldn't have done that.
No.
I would have stayed in the Southeast and held that shit down.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 though. You can look back and say you did all kind of things.
Do you blame Crockett for trying to compete?
No, because guys like that are successful and get to be where they're at because of the vision.
Yeah, not
and
by
their
sitting
vision,
on your hands.
not by sitting and trying. Can't try. You can't blame a guy for trying.
Is Dusty to blame for talking him into offices in Texas? They blame the Jets.
I don't think
on
so.
him.
I think they were thinking if this works out.
If you need the Jets to run the business to get the boys from town to town, that's going to save you money and it makes sense budget wise. That's how you do it. I mean, I just think overall the plan was probably shit. Looking back on it, I mean, like you're able to say it didn't work, but just if it would have worked and they expanded, Dusty might have looked like a genius for putting them in offices in Texas and then Plains. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the success the Von Erichs had. Let's make Texas our headquarters. They sold out Texas Stadium. There's
It's a
going to
big
be
state, isn't it?
there's going to be a void there.
Even with the oil crunch.
But
That's what caused UWF to
How
sell
big
out.
was WWF there? Not very.
Not great.
You know, so they're looking at strategic
They did
places.
they did okay in Houston. That's Paul Bosch territory.
But you look at strategic places, and you're almost playing like the map game of, all right,
Throwing a dart.
where can we get control at? All right, well, let's try to take Texas. That's a big place. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of money there. Let's try to get Texas. So
Yeah.
wrestling, I mean, maybe that was the play.
All right. Should Jim Crockett and the rest of the Brain Trust, should they have gone more cartoonish? Should they have had wrestling figures?
If they can't beat them, join them type of thing.
Because I tell you what,
Yes.
if you would have made big rubber figures of the Road Warriors, I'd have had 14 fucking versions of them with different paint on their face and sold each one, and sold this guy with red tights and this guy and his other color tights that he wears. I would have sold Flair with 6 robes,
Well,
different ones.
they
and
said their merchandise was a joke in the night. Like, that's one thing that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash talk about. That's how fucking shitty the merchandise was, and how big of a joke it was when they got there compared to WWF. They said it was laughable at like just how unorganized it was, and how, you know, you've heard the story about the Giant getting a check sent to him from the video game, and it was like more than his salary. Like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing in that area. So can you imagine? That wasn't even on their radar back then. If it was
'Cause
like
they
that
were wrestling.
in the mid '90s, yeah.
But do you see what I'm saying about if they would have gone that avenue? Could you imagine? I mean, I'm thinking my way. I'm thinking what I wanted.
They had wrestlers running a business, and they thought only wrestlers could understand the wrestling business. You needed a business guy to handle the business.
I think that's one of the
for
smartest
wrestling.
things you've
Great
ever
point.
said. Yeah.
It's the biggest thing I learned about soccer.
Vince
Soccer,
McMahon in his heart
we-
was a promoter. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Not a wrestler.
He was a business guy, and we during the soccer days we had everybody step in to do. Oh, he's a soccer guy. He's a soccer guy. We'd hire, and we came down to it. Get away from these fucking soccer guys because they're soccer guys. They can't see outside the soccer bubble. So these wrestling guys can't see outside the wrestling bubble. They're looking at it from the boys' point of view. They're looking at it from this. They're looking from that. Not what's best for the overall company. Not what's best for 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They're looking at eating that night. They're looking at,
That's fair.
what's now? What can we do now? What yada yada yada.
They're still
yada.
thinking like the guy in the sedan moving to the next show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting point. Do you see what I'm saying that they could have if they would have had a merchant, if they would have had a licensee?
Oh, 100%.
My God. Same thing with their videotapes. They would
Dude,
sell.
we
them on
didn't buy
TV.
those action figures because they were WWF.
No, we just
We
bought them
didn't
because they were
bought 'em-
wrestlers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point.
As opposed to buying the fake ones that were half the size and
Yeah.
bendable. I mean, I remember the AWA had wrestling figures, but by that time they had them out, it was way too late.
We didn't buy the posters because they were WWF. We didn't buy the wrestling buddies because they were WWF.
We didn't buy the wrestling buddies because they were so stupid.
We bought them because they were so soft and they were fun to lay with.
Did you actually own one?
I had one.
Which one?
I had Hogan.
Really?
Brother had Warrior.
My brother had Warrior.
What'd you have?
I would not have one of those things.
Wrestling buddies?
Yeah, I'm not owning a fucking doll.
Cindy Lauper, didn't
Even
ya?
at 9 years old, I was too fucking cool for school when it come to dolls.
Even at
Just
9, I was too manly to sleep
Action
with another
figures are one
man.
thing, but dolls are another.
Isn't it funny they tried to go the celebrity route and they got Waylon Jennings and George Jones?
Telling you
Think
right
about
now,
the South, though.
Waylon Jennings is way bigger than Cindy Lauper in a lot of people's eyes.
Waylon's been a fucking
lot.
staple since like the 50s.
Which one was on MTV?
Which one was on Grand Old Opry?
The Nashville Network?
Yeah, or the Grand Old Opry or whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, from the test of time, Waylon Jennings will go down as a way bigger figure than fucking Cindy Lauper,
Guaranteed.
without a doubt.
I don't think Vince was thinking who's going to be bigger in 20 years. I think he was thinking who's big now.
But see, that's the exact opposite of what you were saying, though. He was thinking for the future instead of thinking for the next show. Now, what you're saying here is, who's the biggest right now I can get in?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird combo of all of it. Really, it's the perfect formula that he worked out, and he wouldn't have. I bet he wouldn't change a lot of it.
Vince wants to put on the biggest
Yeah,
show each time from time to time. If it's not Cindy Lauper, it's Mike Tyson. It's having Floyd Mayweather. It's the hot button, the hot topic.
Fucking Bob Uecker.
I mean, fuck, how many times did he have?
Vanna White.
I mean, Jerry Springer. How many times did they have Jerry Springer on? Because Jerry Springer was hot at that time.
At the time. He wasn't
He's
even hot by the
still
time
hot.
they had him on, was
But
he?
Pamela Anderson is the ring girl. I mean, he always
He
always whored himself out.
Stay in the box here. You got to think this 80s period that they had to have. I mean, it's a war. I'm saying that they had to follow something.
That's what I'm saying. But Waylon Jennings might have been their best connection to do, and might have been the easiest connection. Versus Vince, who has Hogan out doing movies and God knows what to make those connections.
Guest starring on Hunter
Yeah.
and Big John Studd and all those guys.
Hunter was the shit, though.
I
Did-
love that shit.
That guy was a football player for the Raiders, right?
Fred Dryer,
Yeah, he was a kicker, I think. Punter. Sorry.
D end.
Was he? I thought he was a punter. Who am I thinking of?
Bad motherfucker. I don't know.
There's a famous punter that became an actor.
Ray Guy.
Said famous.
He's famous.
Not that famous. Was he in Hunter?
No.
No.
You got me there.
So what are we doing next week?
Oh, we're done. All
No, I
right.
was just asking what we're doing next week. Like, what is the part of next week?
The war continues.
Where are we gonna start off?
Jim Herd.
You heard?
Everybody loves that guy.
Flair's
Jim Herd. It's the early '90s.
Flair's favorite.
Late in the '80s, early '90s. Everybody's.
Why don't we make a tag team with Hunchbacks? They'd never lose.
Oh my gosh! What about Ding Dongs?
Ooh, I love ding dongs. We're talking about the chocolate ones or dongs?
Tag team the Ding Dongs. That actually happened.
If anybody wants to throw around some ideas, like I did last night, I was trying to figure out where they went wrong and who could have changed it.
Alice Cooper. Sorry, I thought of another celebrity.
Kiss.
Oh,
I'm thinking back in the olden days, though.
When did was Herd the one? Is he the Emo's Pizza guy or the KDNL guy?
Pizza
The
Hut.
Pizza Hut in St. Louis, right?
KPLR.
Yeah.
boy, I tell you what, that was about as opposite a combo as you could have had. Pizza Hut and KPLR, as opposed to Emos and KDNL.
Hey,
It's close.
pizza and TV, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
If we ever do the movie version of it, then we'll change it up that way. Because you can't be exact.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No,
I feel you.
I guess we've done nothing here today.
I feel like we've got through some cool shit. I've enjoyed sitting here listening to the Starries.
Yeah, I wish Magnum would have never got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I
What was the
wishes,
ceiling for him? Because I don't give a shit what Flair says.
Movie star.
Bottom
If
of the
Flair
roof.
was going to hand it over to him, no fucking way.
That's the other thing. I
No
always
fucking
think
way.
that's
You
Flair's
don't think?
career could have been over. Well, he would have gone to WWF.
No, but Flair says.
To listen to
I
Flair
was-
say it, you think that's just for marking out these days to...
Flair was saying he was going to pass the torch to him in like 86. I mean, like in the
86,
mid 80s.
87,
No fucking way. That motherfucker was wrestling in 2006, still wanting to hold a title.
It's true.
Fair enough.
So you think
Definition
that
of
guy
can't let it
20
go.
years before that, when he's out slaying 5 chicks a night, partying like a rock star, is going to hand over the belt to a younger version of him that's getting at? No. Ego does not allow you to do that, especially a guy like Ric Flair and the fucking ego he has. That dude still thinks he should be out popping fucking 20-year-old Playboy models.
And he can still do
And he
it
probably does. In some twisted fucking universe.
with drugs and money.
You guys should look up some Magnum TA shit. Dude had charisma.
The only Magnum
I remember
I deal with on a daily basis is a Trojan Magnum.
but
I'm taking
it's a big
I
dick
mean,
joke.
have you ever
crap.
seen the Magnum after the wreck walking out with Dusty and Nikita?
Uh-uh.
So there wasn't a fucking dry eye in the house. He's got a cane. That that arm wouldn't work anymore.
Right.
I can't remember which side, right side or
I
left
remember
side.
if I saw a video or magazines. It might have been the magazine you showed me. Do you have one after it happened?
With the beard on the cover.
Yeah. And then there was one of him doing like a pool photo shoot laying out by the pool. I mean, like and this is like the pop magazines back in the day. They used to have that for I mean, like, that's the other thing. The number of magazines, how those magazines were focused for fucking females.
I just bought another 30 of them. Thank
Like
you.
you
for
said,
saying
females.
that.
No, but like they had fucking posters like of the dudes on lawn chairs, like not
We
wrestling.
haven't even talked about the fucking music videos, like the Fabulous Ones music video that looks like a straight 80s gay porn.
Oh, What
Those
about
are my favorite gay
what was the
porns.
other
Riding horses and sitting in cars, their shirts off.
It looked
Together
like
in their
He-Man,
underwear.
didn't it?
Oh, I've heard some shit about that.
That's the most homoerotic cartoon of all time. Looking back on it, whatever.
Well, I imagine you could say some homoerotic things about pro wrestling if you wanted to.
No,
I imagine a lot of people do and have
Well,
every time they hear we do a podcast about one.
nobody talks bad about us. We kill them.
That's right, we're bad.
6-man tag.
We're like the Freebirds of the new generation. We're like Freebirds 2K
We're like
plus
birds
16 or 17,
with
whatever
no
year it is.
feathers.
2K17.
Yeah,
Us on
Freebirds
the cover?
2K17.
As long as I'm Michael Hayes, that's all that matters.
You're Terry Gordy if you're lucky. I gotta be Ronnie Garvin because gorgeous.
I could talk about this for a couple more hours, but we won't. We're gonna get out of here.
What?
I know. Hey, I've got 1,000 what ifs and questions, but
Let's do 500. Okay, let's not do 1,000. Start.
no, I have more options
Go.
of
Let's
what
go.
they could have done.
What else could we
Well,
have done?
no, he's already putting the fork in it. Let's not let him keep going here.
No, I
Let's
just
continue on next episode. We can keep
Let's
going.
record a third today. Is that what you're saying?
no.
That seems crazy to me as well.
Get an hour tomorrow if we want.
It's Thursday. Isn't the studio booked solid from like 3 a.m. to 3 p.m.?
No, I think
tomorrow's
what
when
if they
Superstars come.
what if they would have spread the belts around more? What if
They only had one star.
What if they
Should've,
hadn't
would've.
kept using the Dusty finish? What do you mean they had one star?
I'm just saying Flair held the belt for so long. that he
Not
was the-
Flair. I mean, Wyndham and Luger were always the U.S. champion. The tag champions were Tully and Arn.
But
Like,
they
fucking
could have
spread your
made
belts around.
They could have made Sting way bigger.
Oh, and earlier.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
If they hadn't
that's
been in a
what I
rush to
meant
get
by
him out of the
that.
business.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do it?
No, go ahead. You got this. You're way
Get
more.
out of this business. Tear up that contract.
Never gets old. I don't care. Never.
You're glad I showed you that, aren't you?
Yeah, it was great, man. That's one of my favorite things now. I've had to show that to a few other people.
God, that's 1990. No, I just, I don't know. It pisses me off because that was a great wrestling time of life. That's the healthiest the business was. They still had the NWA and
It was really an innocent time in wrestling. If you look at it,
for who?
wrestling in general.
For who? Sorry.
All well, that's true. There was debauchery, but they didn't know what was getting ready to happen. What we're going to talk about in the next episode. If they
The Four Horsemen going on TV and telling them that they're going to be at the Marriott that night
Yeah.
in Baltimore. And if there's a woman out there,
who will actually sleep with Arn?
What'd they say?
if she's 5'5", redheaded, she's for Tully.
What is it?
If she's
Do it.
blonde,
do the promo. Do the
5'9", she's for Arn. Oh,
If she's 6 foot
that's
double D.
That's for JJ. Oh man.
What'd Flair say? What was Flair's? What kind was his girl?
Anything that he wants.
If you're 5'10", 5'11", Nature Boy. That was a terrible Flair.
No,
I
man.
apologize.
You may not have the voice, but you had the mannerism. I knew
You can
that-
always do Arn. I'm not one to toot my own horn, but toot, toot. Every time. Every time. That was his fucking calling. Or
Goddamn
that was
right.
his line, call line.
Go
whatever the
toot
fuck.
yourself, Arn.
Let's get out of here. We'll run through the end of this when we get back, and I'll wish that it had never ended.
Maybe we will, and maybe
Maybe
we
we
won't.
won't.
Well,
Next week we're gonna talk about best guys on the. No, we're gonna fucking keep going. We got WWF.
We
got
started it, we might as
steroid-
well finish
We
it.
got steroid trials. We got fucking.
mega powers
Oh,
explode.
well, we
Fucking-
kind of missed out on that. I mean, that was part of this.
People dropping
No,
from the
technically,
rafters.
We'll get going there. We'll get going with the mega powers. Hogan and Savage, the two biggest fucking guys in the business at the time. We'll get there next week.
Both of them slept with McMahons. One a male, one a female.
Oh boy.
Allegedly.
Who slept with the regular McMahon?
Vince? Hogan.
What bullshit? You take that back.
If you listen to Lanny Poffo,
You take that. Fuck the genius. Of course, he's not going to say his brother slept with him.
one of them is dead and one of them is not talking. Fucking Lanny.
Oh.
All right. We're out of here. Numeral3horsemanshow.com. Numeral3 Horseman Show after Facebook. Numeral3 Horseman Show on Twitter. You all know this shit by now.
Yeah, like all 17 of you could probably write this down.
Yeah, fuckers.
So thank you for listening.
Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. We'll have Stump the Snob next week. We'll have a bunch of shit next week.
I'm excited, man.
We're
getting really to the part where I can remember watching it, so that's exciting for me. It's fun to hear about, but it's even more to participate with an active memory.
It's all a big tease. This is leading in the next week.
Always next week. See you then, guys.
Three Horsemen, Big Easy, T.O., and Corey. We're out of here. Talk to you next week.
Out.